Hey everyone, if you've been following along, you might recognize this place. It is just about 2 hours from our house, and we were here the day after Thanksgiving. But now it's New Year's Eve, and we like to take the opportunity on these holidays to get out and do something in God's creation as a family. Today we found the elk and the swans. It was an incredible day. Started out a little bit overcast, but there was promise of sun and maybe even some mountain peaks in the future. This is the National Elk Refuge near Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and it is a beautiful place. On our way to Grand Teton National Park, right by the ranger booth, we saw that moose. It was pretty close to the road and an awesome opportunity for everyone to lay their eyes on one of the largest mammals in the United States. This trail was really well marked. We got there in our 12-passenger NV 3500 and two-wheel drive. No problem, found a parking spot, and this trail was beautiful. Hey, here we go. Are you having fun, Glenny? Let's see the rest of the crew here. In the snow, Grand Teton National Park. Pretty fun. It's about 15 degrees out here today, so we're having a nice time. This was a really fun experience on this trail because we have hiked this trail in the summer. And so here, this is this beautiful bridge and this rippling brook, and it's all just buried under snow, but the water's still running. So really, really cool experience to see all of this same terrain that we'd seen before, but now see it in the beautiful snow. Now it was snowing, but there was nice little breaks under the trees, and the walking uphill kept us warm. All the snow gear, we were sweating, so it was a great opportunity. Now, as you can see, this trail is really, really well packed down. All the snowshoers and a few skiers that have come up this trail in the past week or so have really packed it down nicely. So we didn't even need our snowshoes. It made it easier for the kids to travel the distance. The snowshoes, they're super helpful when you need them, but they're clunky if they're not necessary. So we went snowshoeless, and I think you'd probably be fine because this is such a well-traveled trail, as long as you're not going on a day that has just dumped a ton of snow in the last few days. All along this trail, we work hard with the kids to kind of not be a traffic jam. So it's a little balance of like going fast enough, but not stringing out too far along the trail. Lots of reminders, but that comes with a big family. And so just lots of good communication with the whole team. We have my brother and his girlfriend along with us, and he likes to do things that are crazy. So there he is, jumping off a rock into a snowdrift. But it was just a really beautiful walk the whole way. The snow was deep and impressive, and it's kind of fun because we're back at these places and we're remembering here. We saw prairie dogs here last time we hiked through, and now there's several feet of snow. But just a fun time. The excitement level builds as we come down to the lake, and there's a big shocker. Normally, there's this beautiful blue water, but Madeline goes, "There's no lake. Where's the lake?" It was all buried in snow. Now, the lake itself wasn't actually frozen over. Here, my brother's just waiting a little ways out there, and he's breaking through the snow that's just sitting on top of the water. So the snow acts as like an insulative layer, and it sits on the water, but it doesn't actually form an ice crust just because it snowed first before it really froze hard. As we were headed back, the sun started to break through the clouds a little bit and really just turned up the beauty on this whole day. We just thoroughly enjoyed the crisp, clear air And we would encourage you guys, do not let the cold deter you. I think the forecast when we got to the trailhead was like 12 degrees, maybe 15 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was cold, but none of us were cold. The wind wasn't blowing, thankfully, and it really was just an awesome, awesome time. This is your encouragement to get out with your family and try something you haven't tried before. We hadn't done this before. We weren't sure if the hiking in the snow in Grand Teton was a good idea, but it sure paid off with these incredible views. Now we drove back into town. It was pretty late by this point, maybe like 2 o'clock. And we found this awesome place, Snake River Brewing. And it worked out great. There was a shared meals around the table, good portions, and filled up those tummies before we went and did a little more adventuring. There was promise that the sun would be out and those clouds had burned the rest of the way off. This is just incredible. If you've never been to Teton Valley here near Grand Teton National Park, these views are spectacular. We see the sun burned all the clouds off the east side of the mountains here where we are, where the park is, and it was awesome. Now it was getting chilly though, and that sun was going down quick. So back on the road to make it over the pass before it gets too dicey. The pass from Grand Teton National Park, Jackson Hole area, over the hill to where we live is over 8,400 feet. We got home in time for a late dinner and some treats. New adventures, new hiking, and this year, new treats together as a family. So we are putting some of our homegrown eggs to work, making some homemade old-fashioned eggnog. So if you've never done this before, we hadn't either, but we really figured out that if you combine egg yolks and sugar and cream and vanilla and nutmeg and milk, raw whole milk, man, I don't know if you can mess it up. Like, as long as, so here we're tempering the cream, or we're tempering the eggs off, and as long as you are whisking thoroughly, brought the egg yolks to 160, cool them in a pan in an ice bath, and then strain just to make sure you don't have any like scrambled egg bits. That's kind of the process, and that is just the thickening part of this whole eggnog concoction. So this is just egg yolks and cream and sugar, vanilla and nutmeg, and then we'll strain it into our pitchers, add the whole milk, and it really turned out incredible. So it's kind of fun because the kids were drawing a connection between this and when we make like frozen custard ice cream. Really just a very similar process. In that process, you heat it all up together. And in this process, we kept the milk separate and cold so that we could have a cool drink right away. But it's a similar process. You're just mixing these creamy and rich ingredients together, but you control all of the flavor. You make it more vanilla, you make it more sugar or less sugar. All of that is in your control, and how much milk you add determines how thick or thin your eggnog is in the end. So would highly recommend this one. If you have questions about it, drop it in the comments below and we'll answer them. It's not too late. It's still winter time, so eggnog is fair game. Here is our spread. Game night as always. We love these games because they give us a chance to learn some geography, put some problem solving skills together, and really just have a good time with the family. So stretch your kids. Sometimes learning a new game or engaging in some of the longer games is a challenge, but with persistence, it grows and those games become easier and easier. We also tried roasting chestnuts, and instead of an open fire, we opted for the oven, and it was worth a shot, but we wonder if the chestnuts were not the optimal quality of chestnuts. They turned out kind of chewy. But the question at hand here, how was the eggnog? And the determination is very good. The eggnog was very good, and the games were very good. The baby was very good, and we hope that you also have a happy new year.